Let's go across and get Sonal Verma of Nomura. She's now with us, joining live from Singapore. Sonal, thanks so much for taking out time for us. Recently, you wrote an article about the growth outlook here in India. Can you just talk to us about that, a summary, and then we can take it ahead?
Yeah, sure, Pankaj. I think when we are looking at the growth outlook for India, we are a bit concerned, and we are concerned on both the short-term prospects and also on the medium-term prospects. I think short-term, by now, it's very clear that there is a slowdown led by consumption. We do think that the twin forces of weak global growth and tighter domestic financial conditions would mean that both consumption and investment going forward will see a material deceleration. And I think expectations for FY20 growth are still way too optimistic. One thing that is now starting to become a headwind for India is rising oil prices, because even though the Reserve Bank is easing on the monetary policy side, higher oil prices is clearly a negative for consumers. So one is more the short-term growth prospects cyclically that looks quite weak. And I think more than short-term, I would say the medium-term prospects, because, over the last 10 years or so, we haven't done much in terms of capex, which is essentially what drives potential for any country. Your capex, how much you do, and reforms that boost productivity. And our own assessment is that India's potential growth has moderated from about 8% to close to 7% right now. So the question, I think, which is a sort of a broader public policy debate that needs to happen, is how does India revive the potential growth in India? Because the global growth front is not going to be a big positive going forward. The government side expenditure seems to be moving towards consumption, away from investment. So what do we need to do to revive potential growth in India is sort of more of a medium-term priority that we need to have a debate on.
Sonal, when we talk about growth rates and growth rates coming down with global issues coming, global slowdown coming in, don't you think central bankers across the world are reacting to it? Every banker is sounding more dovish. In India, you got rate cuts which were not anticipated probably at the start of the year.
Yes, if we do see a material easing of policies globally, we could see potentially another cyclical uptick at some point in time. However, let's not forget that the Fed has moved from talking about hikes to neutral. They are not talking about rate cuts. And China has used the credit stimulus, in 2015-16, back in 2008-9, and the efficacy of every incremental credit easing that China is doing in terms of the growth multiplier seems to be coming down. So I think, a lot of the policy tools have been used globally. Every time we've hit, like a headwind on the growth front, we've seen policies start to stimulate growth again. But the effectiveness of every incremental policy easing is coming down. You're right, with global growth slowing down again, we are starting to see a dovish tilt in countries. But, the point is that the efficacy is coming down, and therefore the bang for the buck we are going to get from every incremental easing is not going to be as substantial. Also, the oil price increase we are seeing right now is not driven by a higher world demand. It's a negative supply side shock. And for importing countries like India, this is a negative terms of trade shock. So if you put together less effectiveness of easing globally, partly positive but not massively positive, plus a negative terms of trade because of higher oil prices, I think the overall outcome for India is not necessarily that great. Now, in the next 6 months, we will see growth rates come down closer to 6.2, 6.3%, and the numbers will sort of revert back towards 7%. But I think the ability of growth to stay above 7% is the more critical question.
Right. So what should one essentially do, so that this picks up? You also highlighted about investments, the slow pace of investments that's happening in. Are you seeing utilization rates picking up across industries, or at least select industry where investment can pick up in the coming few quarters?
Well, of course, if you look at the RBI's capacity utilization rate, then that does show that capacity utilization has picked up to 76-77%. Now, that might just reflect, the fact that 2018 has been sort of a year of demand recovery, and it reflects the fact that we haven't done much capacity expansion anyway in the last 10 years. So, therefore, the capacity utilization is picking up. But as you said, it's quite segmented, whether it's cement or specific sectors where capacity utilization is picking up. We don't see evidence of a broad-based capacity utilization actually taking place in India. So I guess it's sort of, and the other thing to remember is that what is the value of capex from, let's say, a car company putting up additional plant versus the value of capex that's coming, let's say, from a power generation or a metal and mining company. So the size in terms of the impact of the big ticket investment projects from power or metals, etc., is substantially more than 100 car plants to move the macroeconomic investment needle. So I think there are 2-3 things that we need to, essentially do. One is clear up the, the reasons, or address the reasons that are leading to the big ticket infrastructure projects big ticket investment projects not happening. It could be to do with where balance sheets are, etc. So the entire process of bankruptcy procedure, etc., is quite important. The first leg of investment cycle recovery in India is going to be more brownfield, M&A driven rather than greenfield, but that needs to happen first. Second, government has limited resources, and unless we can get more resources, we need to prioritize spending on capex. The spending that's going towards social welfare cannot come at the cost of investment going towards infrastructure projects. And third, I think, reforms such as GST are quite important, and we need to sort of brainstorm on what other reforms, India as a country needs to implement in order to essentially, get more productivity related benefits. What are the low hanging productivity improvements that we can get going forward?
Sonal, thanks so much for taking out time for us, telling us about what's your analysis on where the growth is in India. Probably one of the first few voices sounding out that the growth is slowing down. That was, of course, a view coming in from Nomura.